Again, I'm Randy Bean in the James Merrill House. I'm going to speak very briefly on the James Merrill House and its initiatives while we're working out the audiovisual items. What I have here is a picture of 107 Water Street, where James Merrill did so much of his writing. This just gives you a brief summary of the property, a view of it when he had it. So I guess they call this the widow's cap, is that right? Yes. And after Merrill's death in 1995, the property was bequeathed to the Stonington Village Improvement Association. And in 2013, the building was awarded recognition on the National Register of Historic Places. And Sandy spoke yesterday about the interesting dynamics of how the property has been kind of elevated through the National Registry process just by virtue of the, I guess it's the LGBT, desire to kind of fill that slot a little bit. Here's a wonderful quotation, a very evocative quotation from Lanny's book, which for me really captures the essence of Stonington. I first visited Stonington in 1988, and it wasn't until 2007 that I became a part-time resident, but immediately was captured by the natural beauty, the unique physical characteristics of the town. And I'm not going to read this, but I think it also reflects some of the things that attracted James Merrill to Stonington. I think it's a remarkable evocation of the locale. And here's actually a visual picture, so for those of you who the words don't fully convey it, this is like this aerial photograph that gives you a sense, there's one way in, there's one way out. Again, some more of Lanny's quotes from the book. Merrill and Jackson, had not heard of the seaside Connecticut town until January 1954. When you stand out at the very tip, you get a view of 3 states: Fisher's Island, New York, Watch Hill, Rhode Island, which I guess what you now see is Taylor Swift's $17 million residence sitting right above everything. And you see the Connecticut shoreline, Mystic, Connecticut, etc. And I love this quote about the natural theater. It's beautiful. And then, Merrill saying, "I love this town." And this talks about 107 Water Street, and this is from the afterword of the book, and the disposition of the property, how everything was divided, and then what to do with the actual house. And this is what led to the house being bequeathed to the Stonington Village Improvement Association, but without any instructions in terms of how to finance it, how to maintain it, how to upkeep it, what to do with the property. Lanny mentioned yesterday an error in the book, and this isn't so much an error as, I noted at the end that Lanny said 30 writers in residence have passed through the house. And we had a fundraising letter going out, and it said 50 writers in residence. And I said, I really got to get this straight, because I neither want to embarrass Lanny or embarrass the Merrill House. What has happened is that there used to be about 3 writers per year. You see, that more than I would, 2 or 3 writers per year. But the program's been so successful and expanded in recent years that now there's 6, 7, or 8 writers per year. Used to be that had to rent out the apartment to raise the funds to keep everything going. Now, in such a good financial state, that are able to have residents year-round and throughout the summer and for longer and shorter intervals of time. So I guess when you started it was 30, but in the past couple of years we've added in 12 or 14 or however many people. So I believe now the actual quote is 52 going through 2015. Here's another picture of 107 Water Street, and also reference to the disposition of the building, which was referred to as the old eyesore. Here's a view from the deck of the James Merrill House. One of the reasons why I first got involved with James Merrill House is because they throw wonderful parties. And I've got to know Stephen and Lanny and Sandy socially through a lot of those events. It was interesting to read in the Merrill biography about Judy, because I read so much about you in the book, but hadn't got to know you in the way that it was interesting to read about these guys, because I knew about them more from cocktail parties and drinks, and didn't really have the appreciation of the academic and scholarly work that they've done and their friendship with James Merrill. So ultimately, a Writers in Residence program took shape. Here's a view of the house today from the outside. As mentioned, more than 50 Writers in Residence. Almost every writer that comes through writes about the inspiration they derive from their tenure at the James Merrill House. It's also become a lived-in museum. The artifacts have been preserved. We have conservators that have restored the photographs, paintings, archives, the records, books, etc. As mentioned, added to the National Registry. And then this year's been a landmark year for the James Merrill House. With the publication of the book, there's been numerous events linking the James Merrill House in the book, including every year there's an annual James Merrill lecture. This year, Laney Hammer presented the lecture. In previous years, it's been notable authors, including Jeffrey Eugenides, Edmund White, Alan Greganis, and others, Ann Fadiman. Most recently, Kay Ryan, the poet laureate of the United States, has done a tenure at the James Merrill House. And we currently have Julia Glass, who received the National Book Award in whatever it was, 2001 for the three, I can't remember the name of the book, and she's speaking this Saturday. So that's something that we do with the James Merrill House. We have readings and lectures throughout the year, probably about a dozen or more, and I think that's pretty much it to bring up to date. There's a website, jamesmerrillhouse.org,